Three homages.
Good morning and welcome to Reno Buddhist Center. Good morning. We are delighted to see all of you, all of your faces. I'm looking at every single one of you right now. It's just wonderful. We will open our service with our incense offering, and we offer incense and gratitude to the infinite wisdom and compassion of us all 24 hours a day. And we will chant our Shoshinge, which is in the seat back pocket behind you or in front of you. And if you're new, the chanting is traditional in vertical columns going from right to left, down. So it's a pleasantly long poem written by our lineage founder, Shinran Shonin, in 13th century Japan. And it explains the teachings of all the Pure Land teachers that came before from India and China and Japan. So there's a lot of history and a lot of teaching in this chant that we do. And if you are a little daunted by the chant, then you can just sit and listen or read the English translation at the bottom. It's really just gathering all of our good energies together and taking it in and then sending it back out. So everybody is encouraged to offer incense to give a gift back in gratitude for all that is present in our lives every day. So please come forward and do that in much love and gratitude. Thank you. Shoshinge. Kimyo Muryo Junyo I Namu Fukashigi Ko Hozo Bosai Niji Zaisei Jai Obu Token Shobu Jodoin Kokudo Ninden Shizen Maku Konru Mujoshu Shogun Choho Keiu Daiguze Gokoshi Yui Shishoju Juse Myosho Monji Po Uho Muryo Muhenko Muge Mutai Ko Enno Shoujo Kangi Chi Eko Fudanan Shi Mushoko Chonichiga Ko Shojin Se Isai Gunjo Mukosho 本願明後症状後自身心行願に上等学将来内藩非死滅道願成就如来勝意公衆生唯生弥陀本願会老辱枠自群上会往生如来実言の法一年喜愛心不断本本書逆法祭永入領主死入開一味聖主信根上昇後意の水波無明暗頓内心臓死運無不信自信人天非如に幸福運無運無しげ
Good morning. Dharma reading. Instructions to the Cook from Venerable Dogen, translated by Brad Warner. There are 6 office holders that maintain a Buddhist temple. They are all students of Buddha and care. Chief Cook's job is to oversee meals for everybody living at the temple. Since long, long ago, only really awakened people could become chief cook. If you do not have the right way of thinking, you cannot help anyone. When I first arrived in China in 1223, I was stuck on board the ship at the dock for a while because of immigration problems. Waiting there, an old priest showed up to buy Japanese mushrooms. He was the chief cook at a temple, and he wanted to make something special for the following day's feast. He had decided to make exotic mushroom soup with noodles. I told him I was really happy to be able to meet someone with his experience and that I would like to talk to him some more. But he declined, saying he had to get back to his temple once he got the mushrooms so he could to work on the big meal. The food would not turn out right unless he oversaw the cooking. "Can't your assistants take care of it?" I asked. He responded, "How could I hand my job over to someone else? You are a venerable old priest. Why don't you just spend your days meditating and reading sutras? Because being chief cook sounds like a big pain in the Nenju." You can laugh. "Why would I do that?" He chuckled and said, "Listen, you are a nice young fellow country, but you do not know much about the way of the Buddha." I felt a little ashamed and asked, "What is the practice of the way?" "Work real hard. Do not fool yourself. Someday you will get it." I was confused, so he added, "I will visit you at your temple sometime and we will talk more. Then he had to get going. It was getting late. When I was at the monastery on Mount Tendo, the chef cook there was Venerable Yang. Once, I saw him outside putting mushrooms out to dry. It was hot, and he was very sweaty. He was an old guy with bushy white eyebrows, all bent over doing this hard work, leaning on a bamboo staff for support. No hat to keep the sun from burning his bald head. I asked his age. He said he was 68. I asked, "Why don't you get someone else to do this work?" And he said, "Other people." I said, "It's blazing hot out now. Why not wait and do this later?" He said, "What time should I wait for the mushrooms to dry?" I left him to his work, but I immediately felt the real importance of the chief cook. A few months later, the old cook from the dock paid me a visit. I was so happy to see him. He told me that by studying words, you just understand words. If I wanted to understand the Buddha way, I had to actually practice it. Nothing in the whole world is hidden, he said. Even one speck of good makes a mountain of goodness big. Do not neglect doing small jobs well. Do not waste the water you use to wash the rice. Use it to boil porridge for tomorrow's breakfast. The chief cook needs to be at the sink when the rice gets washed and the water gets measured. Do not leave this to somebody else. Do not be like people who change their whole personality according to who they are talking to. If you work with the right attitude, you can do good. You do not get a good attitude because your mind is like a bunch of monkeys and your emotions are going crazy. If you can make the monkeys turn their light inward, you will naturally become one with whatever you do. Attitude is the key to everything. Food prepared from expensive or inexpensive ingredients isn't necessarily better or worse, but food prepared with the right attitude, that. It is the same with Dharma study. It does not matter if you are smart or dull. Have the right attitude, and you will do fine. He went on. Respect the temple food like it was food for the air. Select and prepare the vegetables and rice with your own hands. Do not multitask. All day and all night, many things will float through your mind. Just keep your mind on what you are doing. Do not be distracted. Treat even a piece of lettuce like you are the Buddha himself. And now you, the Buddha, has to make somebody a sandwich. That is real spiritual power. Benefit everybody. Do not, what you do right now becomes the seed of raising a new crop of wise people. Put everyone at ease by doing your job well. That will transform you and everybody else. The old cook told me a lot more that night. I will not bore you with that here. Most of what I know about being a chief cook I learned from that conversation. After I am gone, I hope those of you reading these words pay close attention to his message. Do not get hung up on the words used to express the truth. They do not matter much. Find the meaning between the words. See this in that, and that in this. If you make a good effort, you will get the true meaning of Dharma. If you do not, you will just get all mixed up with opinions and views and concepts. And then, how can you ever be a decent cook? In old China, they said, a monk's mouth is like a fireplace. Whatever you put in the fireplace burns, whether it is wood or coal or incense. Just eat whatever is given to you and use the fuel to continue your practice. The same with whatever you are given in life. Just accept it. Make it part of your practice. Do not worry about others, judging who is better or worse. You do not even know your own strengths and weaknesses. How can you know anything about anyone else? The old rules for priests say we should accept everyone without distinction. China, I learned you need 3 minds to be a chief cook. Joyful mind, nurturing mind, magnanimous mind. A joyful mind is a mind of happiness. Think about it. If you were born heaven or hell, then you would never have cooked meals for true seekers. The ancient texts say, our Sangha precious than anything else in the whole world. So be glad you were born where you were. Glad to serve food to some cool people. It is incredibly difficult even to be born as a human being, and even more difficult to encounter the true way of the Buddha. Concentrating 1,000,000 billion years of good karma into your cooking. If you think about it this way, you cannot help but cook with a joyful mind. Nurturing mind is like the mind of a parent with an only child who gives every bit of love to that kid. Think of it this way. It doesn't matter if your child is weak or strong, beautiful or ugly. A parent loves them just the same. Look at the community. Magnetic is a mind like a mountain or like the sea. It is stable and grounded. It tolerates